This morning we'll get educated with the March of Dimes. Meet the Director of Program Services. Coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at Redline Power Sports on Highway 501 in Myrtle Beach. We're focused on March of Dimes education. And we're visiting with the State Director of Public Programs, Holly Hayes. Hey, Holly.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks
Greg.
so much for
Thank
coming
you.
in. I'm always thinking of public such and such, but
Well, public affairs programs are all
public
together.
affairs, that
Right.
ties in. That's perfect. What about this Redline Power Sports?
I think it's wonderful.
This place is amazing.
Yeah, it is. All the power and energy. It's any guy's dream.
Any guys and gals. I heard you were a fan of these bikes.
I love the motorcycles.
In grad school, you spent a little time on them.
I did.
Uh-huh.
Chris LaRose. We went riding through downtown Columbia a lot.
Chris LaRose, a friend who helped out.
Right.
That's wonderful. It is amazing. 44,000 square feet. And I don't know if you knew it. I think we talked about it before we started filming. Redline Power Sports has been a big donor to the Chef's Auction year after year. And, of course, part of the reason we're here is because Jonathan Formo and the family have been donating to the Heart Ball, which is coming up about a month from now. So we are just highlighting and thanking him for that donation.
And we're very appreciative of everyone who contributes to the March of Dimes. With that money, valuable programs and women and children are reached throughout the state. So we're very appreciative.
Absolutely, Holly. Speaking of that, are you originally from the area?
I'm actually from Easley, South Carolina.
Oh, good. A Palmetto State native.
Yes,
Yeah.
I am. Proud to be.
And you traveled over, obviously, last night, early this morning from Columbia. You're based there in Columbia, but travel all over the state.
Right. I'm based in Columbia, but my reach is throughout the whole state, and just working with volunteers and organizations to be sure the missions advance.
Last week, you and Kathy Douglas were in town last Wednesday for the Horry County March of Dimes board meeting, which was real exciting. I think you all came in, and Kathy, obviously, having her in town is a treat.
Right.
We don't see her on a regular basis, but to highlight, I think in South Carolina, Horry County had the number 1 and number 2 schools in fundraising.
Right.
Which was very exciting, and 5th in the nation. One of the schools in Horry County ended up 5th in the nation.
And I actually went to a conference in Phoenix, Arizona, and they just applauded Horry County's efforts and how far they're moving along. So they're on the map.
Absolutely. It's a big county, a lot of schools, and hopefully getting on the map outside of just South Carolina is a great thing and great for the March of Dimes.
Yes.
Had you always thought about getting active in the March of Dimes since your youth, or is this something that cropped up during graduate school? Or
Well, when I was young, I've always been interested in women and children. I just think that one of the biggest impacts you can have on families is if you educate the mothers before they ever get pregnant, because the mother's the teacher, the caretaker. So if you impact one woman, you could be impacting generations to come. They'll train their daughter up, and then they'll become a mother, and then you have the grandmothers. So you could have generations of healthy lifestyles. And what drew me to the March of Dimes is they want everyone to have a healthy start. And if we have that healthy start, that person's quality of life's greatly enhanced. They may not have those school problems, with asthma, chronic illness, attention, cognitive skills. So all that's greatly enhanced to help them have a better future, and then hopefully they can give their children a healthy start.
That is a tremendous point. That domino effect, a lot of people probably don't think about.
Right. You can influence generations by just touching one woman or man. I mean, men have babies too, so it's important not to forget the father figure in that picture.
That's exactly right. That's a great point. And you never know. And, of course, much of what we're focused on now in the March of Dimes recently been focused on prematurity, which I believe we're in the 5th year of the campaign. But, there's so many other aspects of the March of Dimes, but prematurity itself can have such a dramatic impact on not only the mother, not only the child, but so many others, the family and society in general.
Right. I mean, prematurity is a huge issue. In South Carolina alone, 15.5% of all babies are born premature. And what I mean by premature is just that the baby is born 37 weeks of gestation or less. And we would like all babies to be born at 40 weeks. Brain, lung development, things take time. So the longer that baby is in the mama's womb, the more time they have to grow and to mature. So the South Carolina chapter and the March of Dimes in general is very concerned about prematurity. And unfortunately in our state, we have one of the 5th highest rates of premature births in nationwide.
No way.
And it's increasing at 25% a year.
Oh, come
so
on.
that is devastating when you think about the families who go to the hospital to deliver and have this belief, I'm going to be able to hold my baby at the end of the day. But when in fact, with some babies who are born really early, that baby may be in an isolette hooked up to all countless machinery and tubes and for even 100 days.
No.
So there's this belief that, one thing's going to happen where things could change. And unfortunately, there are all different severities of premature births, but some don't even survive because they were just born too soon and too small.
15% of the births in South Carolina are occurring earlier than 37 weeks gestation.
Right, 15.5%.
That is
and it's sad. We really need to do something about it to stop this trend.
Do we know why?
Well, we only know half of the reasons why premature births occur, and that's why the March of Dimes has huge efforts, and a lot of the money that goes into from Horry County goes to research, because we're not sure yet if there's some type of genetic link. What are the causal factors causing this to happen? But some of the things are just real simple, drugs and alcohol, smoking. So it's so important, that we're opposed to a mother, if she's a waitress in a bar and exposed to smoke, that can be a risk factor for her delivering early. And just knowing your family history, if you were born premature, or if you delivered premature, you're more at risk to deliver the second time premature.
Is that
so
right?
it's really important we know our family history so we can try to reduce risk factors. And weight, obesity, there are other factors that we can control, but unfortunately we don't know the reasons for all the babies.
Surely a need to continue to strive to raise dollars so the research can continue.
Right.
And obviously, hopefully, the reason will be found out. How did the March of Dimes get started?
The March of Dimes started in 1938 with polio. FDR was, we really need to do something with polio, and so they found the vaccine and eradicated polio.
Yes.
And it is the only nonprofit whose mission was to do something, and they completed the task. So at that time, the March of Dimes was, we could close up shop or we could continue. And they realized, there are a lot of other issues for mothers and babies in our nation that we can work on. And so they expanded their mission to include birth defects, infant mortality, and then in 2003, premature birth.
In 2003, so we're just now entering the 5th year of the prematurity, the push to fight to prematurity.
And the big push with that, Greg, is awareness. A lot of just for individuals in our state to realize that prematurity is a problem. Though you may have the cute little preemie clothes and everything looks so small and nice, for individuals and family members to realize that even though that baby's very small and may be cute, you could put your wedding band and that wedding band could go up an entire leg or arm of a premature baby. And so those children are just as serious and sick as someone, in the whole other spectrum who's a lot older. And so we're really trying to raise awareness and then work on prematurity. And one area, Greg, that the greatest concern is among the African American community. For some reason, an African American, regardless of education status, social status, is twice as likely to deliver a premature baby than a white woman. Twice as likely. And this also goes with infant mortality. They overlap. So there's something in that community we're really trying to work on eliminating the disparity. And that can't happen just by, one person, but working with the Alpha Phi Alpha group, the Zetas, some lead African American fraternities and sororities, and the AME churches, get some faith-based groups together so we can work on identifying risk factors in that community and what messages will hit home to them. What will they see, I really do need to work on this. I don't want this to happen to my child or my grandchild.
Absolutely. How critical. And, of course, to know which are the right venues to reach the most folks is very difficult at times. I think you spoke about getting the word out in 2 weeks. I understand it's 2 weeks from today, Legislative Day
Right.
in Columbia, February 7th, getting close.
Yes, and everyone's invited in 2 weeks, February 7th, which is at 8 o'clock to 10 a.m. We're inviting everyone in South Carolina to come out to Columbia to visit with our legislators. Last year we had 70 there. They're here to hear from their constituents. And we're
Yes.
really supporting an increase in the cigarette tax and for that money to go to Medicaid to help mothers and babies who need health insurance and health care, prenatal care, and also to work on hearing. To be sure, hearing. To be sure that there's follow-up for those children who are identified with the hearing loss. And so we encourage everyone, if they would like to come,
Great,
to
sure.
visit marchadimes.com/South Carolina and sign up. We just
Okay.
need to know at least 3 days in advance so they'll have a nice hearty meal and we'll provide breakfast.
Great. marchadimes.com/South Carolina to RSVP.
Right.
Okay, that's great. A good location, even if folks aren't interested or can't attend or can't leave. Obviously, the bulk of our viewers are in the PD,
Right.
and many in eastern North Carolina, and of course the opportunity even for those folks to support their March of Dimes chapters in North Carolina. But if folks couldn't drive up from Horry County, the opportunity to still visit marchadimes.com/South Carolina.
And for them also to call their legislator and say, you know, I'm not able to make it to the lobby day, but I want you to know that saving babies is important to my family and the Horry County community, and I'd like you to do everything you can to be sure there's health insurance, prenatal care, and hearing follow-up.
Holly, give viewers a sense of what it's like if someone doesn't have a loved one or a parent or a daughter or a sister who has a child in a neonatal intensive care unit. Could you give viewers a sense of what it's like for the families that are going through that, who've experienced premature birth?
Right, and one good example for Myrtle Beach, especially in Horry County, it's a roller coaster ride. You know, you go through, I had this baby, they named the baby, and they have their ups and downs. You know, one day the baby could be doing good, the next day they could have an emergency surgery. There is a lot of anxiety and weight and you know, that guilt, did I do something to cause this? So it's really a roller coaster ride. And it's hard for others to know because that mother can't even sometimes touch the baby. They have to be, you know, in that isolate. So just bonding with your mother or parent is difficult.